The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond.
You're awful.
And AJ Applegarth.
It's Sin Shu Chu. It's a mouthful.
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, wearing the best t-shirt on earth, Mr. AJ Applegarth. What is up, man? That's so fantastic.
I actually love this place, but it just came in today, so I was like,
oh my god, yes. It's so good, man.
Working on it, Mike. Chill down.
So good. All right, guys. So we've got a good show tonight. We're going to be talking through some of the big hot topic names to start this early 2022 fantasy baseball season. You know, some of the hot starts, the cold starts, some sort of the mixed bag starts too. Like, what do we really take from this, right? So we're going to go through some of that. But before we get going, just want to remind everybody, hit that subscribe button, that follow button, give us those ratings, those reviews. We appreciate all of you, and it goes a long way in helping us out. And I guess without further ado, man, we will do our beer of the week.
Beer.
What you got today, AJ?
Well, in the spirit of my old chalkboard, which will be making a brief
triumphant return.
Yes, not brief. It will be long running. I am dazzling myself with the Flying Dog seasonal release.
What's that?
Royal Orange Crush Ale.
All right.
Royal Crush Orange Crush Ale. Basically, I guess an homage to the Maryland Shore and the Orange Crush cocktail. It's light, but it's delicious. Really good.
Fair enough. I'm going with an Aslan Beer Company, and this is one of the ones that they've released just a few times a year, I feel like, if that. I could be wrong, but I feel like this isn't one of the ones you can find regularly. It is their Masters of Oranges Double IPA. They actually make a triple one of these, which is even better. It is like by far the best triple I've ever had. But this double is a 4.75 rated beer for me on Untapped. It is so good. 8.4%, just smooth. Like, you get the hints of orange, obviously, because the name. It's hoppy. I love this beer, man. It is so good. When I found it, I was like, I don't care how much it costs. I'm just buying it. Just put it in my car. I was like, it's that good.
I'll take 6.
I wish. All right, man. So let's get on with our guest of honor. This is a baseball writer for Fantasy Six Pack. He's been writing a couple articles, digging into some sabermetrics early on this season. Looking forward to see what he's got for the rest of the year. This stuff so far has been really, really good. Yeon Lee, what's going on, man?
Hello, guys.
Okay. What's up?
Hey, man. Glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about some hot starts, some cold starts, some kind of mixed bag starts, just kind of figuring out, where to go. The one thing I always tell people, right, is, you don't want to overreact too much to some of this early stuff, but you also have to react a little bit, right? You can't just sit there and, just treading water. You're going to get passed by everybody else because you do need to react to some of this news. Now, do you give up, one of your top 3 or 4 picks because, he had a bad couple weeks? Probably not. But, you do need to maybe get rid of some of those later guys that you drafted for some of the guys that are having hot starts because you never know. They could be this year's Cedric Mullins. You just never know. So with that said, though, man, I want to just talk about some general topic news here right now. And the first thing is, we're seeing the power right now in baseball down drastically, man. And I looked up the power numbers, and we're down to 0.9 home runs per game. That's the lowest mark pretty much ever. Way lower than any other year. So I just want to get your thoughts on, like, why do you think this is actually happening right now? Yeah.
I just briefly checked before I joined here, but honestly I have no idea. But then I think there's possibility that maybe MLB just kind of like manipulated the ball, I guess, as they did before.
Yeah.
Like there was like too much home run, last year, so maybe they adjusted a little bit. So that's one of the possibilities. And the next one that came to my mind was that maybe just because of like shortened spring training, because the players didn't like get to play like enough before the season started. So maybe that's a part of the reason, I think.
Yeah, AJ, you got any other thoughts on why the ball? Those are great points, Yeon. Like, the less of spring training and they could, who never knows, right? We'll never find out. But the doctored ball, they could be tinkering again.
Yeah,
but
I definitely think that the spring training plays into this because a lot of guys just are creatures of habit, especially the pitchers. We talked about that a good amount last week too. We'll dig into it a little bit more later, but I mean, for me, maybe it's the weather. I mean, how many rainouts have we had for a Kansas City game? I feel like I
don't think it's just that. I think it's just the cold. If you're going to go into the weather, man, honestly,
the weather itself, Mother Nature is drunk. She took beer of the week to a whole new level, and she needs to figure it out. But you could have that. You could have a lot of because of the spring training and the pitcher cut down. The pitchers aren't going deep in the game, so you're getting a lot more bullpen usage here. Fresher arms, throwing gas, for a couple of innings, maybe keeping these hitters off kilter a little bit more. I mean, it's gonna come back up. I'm not too worried about it right now. It's disappointing to see because everybody loves dingers. So
chicks love the long ball. Yeah, man. It really is tough to say. I do think it's a multiple factors. But it's one of those. I do agree with you, AJ. I think the power is going to come back around. It's just a matter of when. And some of the guys we're going to talk about tonight are guys who we expected to be hitting bombs, and they're just not. And we'll try to dig into why and see if we think it'll turn around. But next topic here I've got is we got more closer carousel type of deal, and the one that I'm focused on this week is the one in Kansas City, and it looks like Stallmont is maybe taking over for Barlow, or is this like a full-fledged committee? What's your thoughts there, Yeon?
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing great, so I think he's gonna take over, but it's more of like a closer committee situation. It just depends on like who's gonna perform like the best. So right now, pretty much the closer job is up in the air, but I think it's gonna be Stallman eventually.
I mean, I think everybody thought it was gonna be, or I guess everybody thought that he was probably the better talent, but Barlow just was thought of as the guy, and it hasn't proved that way. So it is interesting. Like, Barlow was one of those later closers that was getting taken as crap, I need saves, I forgot to go draft some, and maybe he could be relatively safe on a bad team, but maybe not. So that's where that gets very interesting.
Well, the other thing with Barlow too is that he kind of came on strong late last year, and,
right? And
there's that recency bias for people looking at it. But I mean, I'll be the first to admit I was definitely one of the like, oh yeah, I need saves. But I also kind of went into a couple of drafts knowing I wasn't going to go heavy, on closers in general, just to try to to like not worry about the category, or the other league is a points league. It wasn't like you were not getting a lot out of it. So I just kind of let it ride and had him kind of in my sights for a later round snag.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely one of those interesting takes there. You've just got to try to figure it out. So let's rip through some of the injuries here, and so we can get on to our topics here. So some notable injury news here. We've got Ronald Acuna. He has started his minor league assignment, so that's good. He actually stole a base, so that's really good. Yeah. John Means, mentioned him last week, officially placed on the 60-day DL. Manager said it's going to be a while. I wouldn't be shocked if it's the entire season, to be honest. It doesn't sound good. You get that, you get that forearm tightness. We know what that usually leads to. So, oh well. JD Martinez is day-to-day with a groin injury. We got Luis Robert day-to-day with a minor groin strain. Giolito back on the DL with an abdomen injury. I mean, he literally just came off. I was like, okay. Luis Castillo, good news. Shoulder injury. He's beginning his minor league assignment soon. Same team, though. Jonathan India on the hamstring injury, placed on the DL, 10-day DL. We got Altuve, hamstring, 10-day DL. Shocker, we got a lot of hamstring and groin injuries on a shortened spring training.
No way.
These guys are in super good shape, right?
Never would have
Hyunjin Ryu, 10-day DL with a forearm injury. That's, I typed Foreman.
I was like, oh.
That's that's me trying to type super duper fast.
Grill.
I have no idea. And then same team, Springer dealing with a forearm injury. Obviously not as scary for a hitter, but you never want to see that either. Like, you just never really know. We'll move over to the Dodgers here, and of course, unfortunately, it's one of the guys I had listed down as somebody I wanted to talk about as having a hot start. We'll still get to it, but Andrew Heaney, left shoulder discomfort, and then Trevor Bauer, not an injury, but his leave has been extended yet another week, so it's just unknown. I don't know. I mean, I did draft him like 15th round in one league. It was just like, why not? Like, if he plays half a season, I'm getting a top 20 arm for half a year in the 15th round. I felt like it was worth a gamble, but maybe not. Who knows? Yeon, what's your thoughts on this whole Bauer situation? Like, if you have him, are you just hanging on to him, hoping he comes back sooner rather than later, or are you cutting bait and just getting what you can elsewhere?
I mean, honestly, it's good betting if you can like draft him at the late round, because like I said, like you never know like if he's gonna play or not. But then I think Manfred, he showed a tendency that like he doesn't like anything related to like domestic violence or like anything like violent against like women. So I think whether or not he's proven innocent, like there's gonna be a like at least like 80-game suspension, I think. So
yeah, but do you think he could do like what he did with Ozuna, where it's like time served already is counted, because he didn't play like the last half of the season last season, and he's already not going to play for a full month this year. If you do that, that's the entire season.
Yeah, that could be also a possibility. Honestly, like I don't really know like what's gonna happen, because like this situation is really odd. Because like in the first place, everybody thought like Bauer was guilty, but then like right now it seems like Bauer is kind of innocent. So I'm not really sure like how it's gonna end though. But like to be honest, like personally, I'll still draft Bauer if he's available in the late round, because he's got such a great talent, and then he's like still a great player to just overlook if he's available.
Yeah, it's definitely it's very very tricky. It's an interesting situation. Like I said, I have him in one league, and I'm just kind of holding out hope that he can come back sooner rather than later. Not that I really want to root for the guy, because I kind of don't really like him, but it was such a good value where I got him. I was like, I'm looking at like crummy pitchers here and there, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll take Bauer because he's obviously awesome. So, oh well.
Yes. Let us move it on then.
Yes.
All right. Well, yeah. Let's just dig into these hot starts then.
Absolutely.
We'll start off with some pitchers. Obviously, Andrew Heaney we talked about on the IL right now, but he was killing it. I looked at my one team today that I had him, and I was like, oh, all right, he finally started yesterday. Thankful for that. And it's like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean IL? What happened here? What?
Yeah.
What? Where did this come from? I mean, what's your quick thoughts on Heaney? Long term, it kind of ties in with Bauer, because obviously if Bauer ends up not playing, they may not be able to Dodger as many people this year. So, any major upside with Heaney, or do you think he falls back to what we've seen in the past?
So I mean, like, I briefly wrote about like Andrew Heaney a couple days ago. I think if you look at his Statcast data, he abandoned his third pitch. I forgot what it was. I think it was changeup maybe. But like basically right now he's a 2-pitch pitcher who throws fastball and slider only. But then it's been great and it works great so far. So, but then there's always the obstacle for 2-pitch pitcher if as season goes on. So I think the Dodgers allow him to use 2-pitch only means that like they don't see him as a long-term starter. Like it's just he's more of like a considered as a fill-in starter before Bauer comes back. They also have Dustin May coming back off injury, IL, maybe in the middle of season. And then they also have like some of like great like prospects like coming up from the minor leagues. So I think Heaney right now, like he plays really well. But then if I have him on my league, then I'll just probably trade him for like better player if it's possible.
Yeah, I completely agree, and you're right. He gave up his changeup. He's only throwing it 3.2% of the time, as compared to around 17%, almost 18% the last few years. His slider rate is up immensely, and I mean it's a crucial pitch for him. It's just getting all the outs, which is fantastic. But you're right. Like if he can't get a third pitch, the long term, like we've only seen a handful of guys have success with only 2 pitches like that. But yeah, I mean, there's other guys in the waiting. I feel like they could easily throw him in the bullpen. Dave Eddy is saying, Dustin May is going to be a top 5 starting pitcher before long. I agree. I love Dustin May. But obviously Gonsolin is there. If Bauer comes back, you're just pushing Heaney out to the bullpen super easily. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see long-term here. If somebody wants to buy Heaney, like I would say, once he comes off the IL, if it isn't long-term, hang on to him, especially if you have an IL slot in your league. Let him get 1 or 2 more good starts in his, in the books, and be like, peace, go get somebody, buy low on somebody who could prove to be much better down the stretch. His left on base percentage right now is like 87.5%. That's super high. His BABIP is only 200. His K rate is up almost 4 percentage points, or like 3.5 percentage points from last year. Like, granted, I know it's a small sample size, but things just seem like they're just going to come crashing down pretty quick for him. He's not this good. And I don't think anybody should believe he is. But anyway,
the offense has been there for the Dodgers, obviously, in his 2 starts.
No. Well, yeah, his 2 starts, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that definitely helps. But next guy we got here, I love this guy. And I'm kind of mad at myself for not going after him harder this year. After what he did last year, and that would be Carlos Rodon. He moved out to San Fran this year. His first few years in the league were disappointing because of the injuries and everything, but he finally turned it around last year. I mean, his ADP was at right around 90, 91. So it's still a pretty good value, I think, but it definitely crept up on it. So mean, what do you like about Rodon?
Or don't like.
Or
keep it going.
I mean, honestly, I love Rodon because I mean, like, you know, he's been he's been injury prone like throughout his career, so that's definitely a downside of having him. But you know, ever since he moved to San Francisco, I mean, like, it's kind of related, but I like Zaidi as GM, and I mean, I'm sure like there's a reason why he picked Rodon like in the free agent market, so I definitely trust him. And then I love Giants system. They know how to develop pitchers. So and then I briefly took a look at like his Statcast data, and it looks so great. I think it's a great investment if you drafted like Rodon this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, everybody was sort of hesitant to draft him when he didn't have a landing spot, right? Because you weren't quite sure. Obviously, the checkered history with the injuries and things like that was one reason to not draft him. But where was he gonna go? Was he gonna go to a park that was going to hurt him? He landed in San Francisco, and everybody was like, "Oh yes, like gimme," and they're spot on. Like, I was trying to get him everywhere, but he just, I don't know. He went too early, and maybe it wasn't too early at this point. But I mean, yeah, it's that ballpark just caters to a pitcher like Rodon, who has a fairly high fly ball percentage, and it's even higher this season. He's just like, you want to hit him in the air? Good luck. It's not going out, and it hasn't so far. I mean, but yeah, I mean, he's obviously a high strikeout pitcher. You know, is he as good as he's pitching, you know, through his first 3 starts? No, but he's going to be super valuable in San Francisco, and I love the start here. Moving on here, next pitcher here is Miles Mikolas. You know, a guy who, you know, had a little bit of success when he first came back over from the KBO of, you know, actually a lot longer than that ago. I forgot, but yeah, then just sort of went downhill. Like, just never really could keep it going. Had another decent season in 2018, but then again kind of crumbled back down to earth. Now he's doing it again. 3 starts. We're seeing the velocity up right now, and so I kind of want to ask you, like, do you think the increased velocity is something he can maintain, and then, you know, will it lead to a overall successful campaign in 2022 for him?
Well, I mean, like, honestly, like, velocity increment, like, it's like a sign, but then honestly, I don't really see anything exciting about him. Like, when I take a look at like his stats, so I'll say it's just a fluke. I'll just like trade him away if I had him.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you. I don't disagree completely.
I mean, I think as far as I remember, like, he doesn't allow a home run like so far this season. I think that's a big part of the reason why like he had a 0 ERA right now. But
he's got a 1.76, it looks like, but
I don't think it's sustainable, like, with low strikeout rate like that he has. That's why, like, I don't think like he's gonna perform like better than you know, like previous seasons. If you look at like stats, like, it doesn't really look different from like previous seasons. That's why I don't really see anything exciting.
Dave Eddie, Mikolas could strike out Little Leaguers. Hey, he's at least striking out 8 per 9 at least right now, so yeah. he's up there. But you're not taking him. You're not taking him for the strikeouts. You know, you're hoping he can repeat like what he did in 2018, where he had a under. I'm trying to find the ERA here. He had like a 3.32 ERA. That's xERA. 2.83 ERA. If he could finish like in the 3.5 range, you know, with like a 1.2 WHIP, like, he's valuable enough just to keep ratios down. But you're not getting him for the strikeouts. And, you know, and at that rate on that team, he's probably going to win plenty of games. So he's valuable there. And you know, he'll go pretty deep in games. So if you're in a quality starts league, you got that as well. But yeah, he's not super exciting, but it is somebody that, I mean, the reason why I brought him up in this show is because he was somebody just flat out not drafted. I'm trying to pull up the sheet here. His ADP was 489. I mean, that's how bad it was. I mean, he was undrafted for 89. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't drafted in leagues. So like the fact that you, I mean, I grabbed him. I had a pitcher go in the IL and was like, oh, Mikulas is there. He's doing fine. Click, sure. You know, I'll take it while it's working. That's. I'm not getting. You're probably not getting anything for Mikolas at this point. So in a trade. So I think just maybe ride the hot starts. You know, I probably wouldn't start it like in a Colorado, or like I wouldn't start him against these like top notch offenses. But play the matchups while you got him. If you do, I mean, he's played Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, and then Miami. So. Not phenomenal offenses, so I don't know what his next game is right now. But, so take it with a grain of salt. So I totally agree with you. Next pitcher here is a guy who I had to like double take this one, Paul Blackburn. You want to talk about a guy not drafted? His ADP was not applicable. He literally wasn't drafted by anybody. But he's absolutely just been dominating right now. I mean, 10 innings pitched, 10 Ks, 2 game start, 1 win. He's got an ERA of 1.8, a whip of course that didn't come over in my data pool, but he's been very, very good. I mean, any hopes that he can keep up some level of relevancy here, and he's worth some sort of waiver wire grab here for you.
Okay, I got some things to talk about him. Because I actually like thoroughly checked him a couple days ago, and I think there's a pick in his velocity, maybe like 2 miles per hour, I think, and that's
his fastball is up to 92.5.
And then I looked at his Statcast data, and it's interesting that like he changed his repertoire like literally every season, and but then this year he replaced his cutter, which was second most thrown pitch last year, with the refined curve. I think there's an Oakland coach whose name is like Alperman, who taught him like a better curveball this year, and then it's been like working great. He threw like he's been throwing like curveball like I think it's the second most thrown pitch this year, and then he knows like how to get like lefties out with that. That's why like he's been like playing great. But then I think he doesn't have a like true third pitch, so I wouldn't say like he's gonna be a like great player. Like he's not gonna be a like player of the year. But then if you picked him up like from the waiver, it's a good pickup. I think it's sustainable, but then if you ask me like, oh, so is he gonna play like at like this level, like sub ERA? Like no, like it's absurd. But I'll say like maybe like 3.5 with like decent strikeout rate. Then that's reasonable, I think. Yeah,
I mean, look, he's played 2 pretty solid offenses, Tampa and Toronto, and Tampa's trying to figure some things out right now. But I mean, that's still a pretty solid offense. And of course, we know Toronto's good, and he's shut down both teams. So, I like the play there. Obviously, 2 games, he's got a 1.8 ERA. It's hard to take a lot from the pitchers this early. But yeah, as Dave is mentioning here too, Oakland does wonders with pretty crappy starting pitching. So yeah, take your chances. We've seen it work in Oakland many times. So that's my 2 cents there, AJ.
Yeah, there's not really much to add on Blackburn. It's just he's getting a good amount of ground balls. Almost 60%. And his left on base percentage isn't like crazy high. I mean, about 78. So, if he can keep the ground balls coming, then I think he's going to keep being able to maintain outs. But we'll see how that changes with, obviously with the weather heating up and players getting back into game shape here. So the next guy we got listed here is Nestor Cortez Jr. I mean, another really low ADP. I don't think many people were going after him aside from deeper leagues. I mean, his stats seem like they're pretty good. He's limiting walks. His Ks are really high. So K per 9 is at just over 16. I mean,
that's like closer rate, dude.
That's absurd.
Insane.
So
Absurd.
yeah, I mean, his left on base percentage 100%. So if you were able to get on base, you're not going around. You're getting stranded. I mean, anything to like or dislike here with Nestor?
Well, I mean, honestly, like I don't think anybody will expect like this kind of stats like from him, like going forward. Of course, like there's gonna be a regression, but I think you can like he's somewhat like likable. There's no harm like having him. I think, yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I mean it is a little hard to take away from his stats completely. I mean he shut down Toronto, which is fantastic, but then he obliterated Baltimore for 12 strikeouts in 5 innings. So like let's slow our roll a little bit with him, but yeah, he is a good pitcher. And one of the reasons why he wasn't drafted is just I believe people weren't really sure if he had a rotation spot. Like we just didn't really know.
Yeah.
So he just super unknown, and he pitched 93 innings last year and was good. But bullpen and starting, things like that. So it's still like not a guaranteed spot there. I think he's obviously a guy that if for some reason he is out there, you go grab him. But I really doubt he is at this point in your leagues. He's sitting out there in one of my leagues after like the Toronto start, and I was just like, ugh. So I had a couple guys go get injured on me, and I was like, well, why not? And it clicked right before the Baltimore game, and 12 strikeouts later, I was like, well, that worked out.
I am happy with that choice.
Yes. But yeah, it's I mean, like he is a very solid pitcher. I'm not gonna deny that. He's got 3.5-ish pitches. His fastball, cutter, and slider are the big 3, and then he mixes it a changeup every now and then. So he's got starting pitcher type repertoire there. Doesn't throw it very fast. I mean, only 90. So he's really got to hit his marks to strike you out. So the fact that he's able to get that kind of K rate off of 90 mile per hour pitches means he's precise. He has great command. So and we saw that last year, right? 2.4, 2 walks per 9. This year it's under 1, which probably will go up. The K rate will come down, obviously, because of that. But right now it's working for him, and I think he can keep it rolling.
Yeah. All right, let's dip into some hitters here and stick with the St. Louis theme that we had with Mikolas and Mr. Arenado. I mean, it's like Coors Field Arenado that we're seeing here. I've always been a fan of his. He's 14 RBIs already, 10 runs, 5 bombs. I mean, what are your thoughts on Arenado? Are you in or are you out?
Personally, like I'm a big fan of it. Big fan of his. Like when he was playing for Colorado, I always wished like he'd come to like Dodgers, but unfortunately he went to St. Louis. But I mean, but like if you look at his stats, it's just kind of inflated right now. I'm sure like there's gonna be regression. He's gonna be just an Arenado that we have seen like for past seasons. He's gonna hit like maybe like 250-ish with like 30 home runs, I think. So yeah, I mean there's no change. I can't see like right now. So I mean right now like he's playing well, but eventually like he's gonna be in a slump to regress, I think. But he is who he is. That's all
Yeah.
I can say.
Yeah.
So the reason why I know he had a higher ADP, as far as the guys who got off to a hot start that I'm mentioning in here, he's got the, I guess you can call it the lowest ADP, like the 73, right? Compared to most of the guys that we're going to talk about are in the upper hundreds, 200s, 700s, right? But Arenado was a guy that was, people just like didn't want to believe that he was a good player anymore. And, I know the super cold start to 2021 in St. Louis didn't do him any favors. But I kept saying it, AJ, you remember this, like on the third base show, right? It's like the dude still finished with 34 home runs and 105 RBI. What else do you want from your third baseman? If you don't go get, the top, you don't go get like Jose Ramirez and those types of guys, why not take Arenado late? Like he was just getting forgotten about, People were taking chances on Austin Riley ahead of him. And, I get it. I kind of had him and Riley. And then once Chris Bryant landed in Colorado, I had those three sort of I could literally just pull a name out of a hat and be like, yeah, that's cool. I'm good with either one. But I had leagues where Bryant would go in the third round or fourth round and Arenado would go in the seventh round. It was that drastic of a difference. People just were just weren't believing him anymore. The guy is still a phenomenal hitter. Is he, he's not going to keep on this pace. This pace would be ridiculous. But look, he doesn't strike out. He knows how to take a walk. This offense is really good as long as it can stay healthy. We're gonna get into some other guys as well, but Goldschmidt's there. He's good despite his rough start. We got Edman, we got Carlson, we've got tons of guys on this offense that can hit the ball and protect him in this lineup. So I do like him a lot and think that he was fairly underdrafted in my opinion. That's why I put him there.
Yeah.
What?
Definitely underrated.
Yeah. Especially now, when he was in Colorado, everybody loved him, and people were buying in on it last year. But then this year, he fell. At least in my opinion, I think he fell at least 2 rounds, and he shouldn't have. So next guy up here, a guy that we talked about last week, but he's still off to a blistering start here, and it's Suzuki from the Cubbies. What's your take on this hot start for him? It's pretty rare that we see guys, come over and perform this well, this quickly. You think, this guy's just the real deal, and this is, he's going to be the next Ohtani type outside of the pitching, obviously.
I mean, honestly, it's hard to tell at this point. I think, there's no statistical evidence, but it's just my opinion. But usually, from what I've seen, Japanese players, they all their first year is always great, the greatest. But then after first year, they just decline a little bit, gradually. So I think it's kind of like that for him. Cause I think it's more because pitchers don't know what kind of player they are when they first time come over here. So I think it's the same case. I briefly looked at his stats. It showed that he's playing great, but then it showed that he has some weakness against breaking balls.
Mm-hmm.
So I think May or June he's gonna be in a slump. And I'm sure pitchers are gonna start throwing more breaking balls against him when they face him. That's gonna be the first test that he's gonna have to pass to be legitimately a good player. I think I'm not sure if he's gonna pass based on stats I can't see right now, but then we'll see.
Yeah, I mean he's getting 31%, almost 32% fastballs thrown at him right now. That's gonna change once they start figuring out that he can't hit the other pitches.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I think it's it's a nice story. It's a nice start. I want to see him succeed. I really do. But I'd be a little hesitant to say that this is what we're gonna get all year from him. But if he does, that's awesome. Next guy up here, San Francisco, a guy who was I admit I couldn't pull the trigger on him either because injury history has just not been great for him the last couple of seasons here. But Brandon Belt, this guy's obviously got a power bat. We saw it last year in just 325 at bats. 381 plate appearances is probably the better way to do it. He hit 29 home runs. That's absurd. He hit 274. He's always when healthy, he's a fairly high average player. So that's great to see. But the RBI and the runs haven't been there because, well, he's not healthy enough to stay on the field. But he was going around 242 ADP, which is like back into your drafts. And he's killing it right now. 4 home runs, but again, 4 home runs, but only 8 runs and only 8 RBI. So it's exactly what I just said. High average, 282. The San Francisco team, they don't score a lot of runs. So they're winning off their pitching in that ballpark, and just smart baseball. But what's your thoughts here on Brandon Belt? Being a valuable player for your fantasy team, or is he somebody that because of the lack in runs and RBI, you're going, if somebody will give me somebody else for him that is at least somewhat of a fair value in trade, I'll do it.
Personally, I used to love him a lot because, he, a couple years ago, he had, great potential. He's got a massive power. He knows how to hit for average and stuff, But then, the injuries, he's been injured for years, right? So, he's been a headache for me. I used to own him, a couple times, but then I've never been, satisfied with him, on my team because, he always goes to IL. And when I really need him, he's not available to play. So I think you're right. If I have a chance, that I'll just trade him away for better asset if there's an offer. I think at this point he's just who he is. He can't hit for power, and average is a little high for power hitter. But then there's gonna be an injury. He's not, and then I think they're gonna platoon him. For, not 100%, but then based on their roster management, I think they're not gonna play him 100%, and of course just because of his injury history as well. So if you drafted him in the late round and then he's performing well, then I think it's a great chance for you to just trade him away for better players.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, I gotta step away for a second. I just realized my laptop's not plugged in and it's about to die. So, AJ, floor's all yours, man. Welcome to live shows.
This is the part where I would make fun of Joe for the next 10 minutes until he gets back. But we'll lump these next 2 guys in here. You got Gavin Lux and Jurickson Profar. So Lux is interesting in my book because he's the young up and comer, but he's on a loaded Dodgers team, so there's the fear of playing time coming in for him. Profar's just the old man, he's been around, and he's actually in the same boat though. He's always just been a utility kind of guy and trying to find enough playing time. But now he's been absolutely destroying the ball, so he's earned it. I think it's interesting. So, which one of these 2 guys do you think will have the better, ceiling moving forward?
I'll take Lux all day, any day.
Yeah.
Jurickson Profar, I took a look at him. I think his pull rate is over 60% right now. which is not a good sign because like he's not a power hitter, but then like he's pulling like every single ball that he sees. That means like pitchers are gonna like exploit him like going forward. So eventually like his power is gonna go down, and I don't see any change that he made to justify like his current stats. So I think there's gonna be a regression. But Gavin Lux, I love him. I mean, like he used to be a highly regarded prospect, like when he was in the minor.
Yep.
But then when he was up, like he was kind of relatively like disappointment. So everybody kind of like went away from him. But then it's Dodgers. They know how to develop players. And I think this year they figured it out. I think so. I mean, I picked him as a breakout hitter candidate like a week ago. I think. If you look at his stats, like I think his stats against breaking balls like got a lot better this year. So I think there's evidence to prove, justify like his current like inflated stats. So, and then of course, like on Dodgers roster, I think there's gonna be enough playing time for him because he can play like multi positions. So. Yeah. He can be a backup. Like, of course, there's gonna be injuries, so I think there's no worry about like his playing time going forward. So which is great. So I'll just take Gavin Lux over Jurickson Profar any day.
Yeah, I think AJ alluded to it. I walked away. I think he was saying it or came back. Yeah, the playing time concern for Lux is why his stock dropped big time. Profar, just two quick stats. He's hit as many home runs this year as he already did last year. In 412 plate appearances last year. He's done it in 49 this year. So, yeah, good luck. And then his home run to fly ball ratio is 36.4%. His highest ever was when he was a rookie. Scratch that season because he played 9 games, so that doesn't count. His highest ever after that was 14.9% in 2020 with San Diego, and that was a shortened season. So that's even that you can partially throw that one out a little bit. So, there's no chance this Lux all day, Lux all day. I love it here, but all right, let's jump over to some cold starts and dude, I mean. We got to talk about Gerrit Cole, man. I mean, this is the bad of bad, man. Has had 3 abysmal starts, and this start last week, a couple nights ago was like, I was like, first inning, 3 strikeouts, Gerrit Cole's back, and then 5 walks, and what the hell? I mean, he's got a what's his stats right now. Let's see here. I mean, he's got a 9.53 K per 9, but believe me, it's not that great because he's only throwing 11.1 innings in 3 games.
Yeah.
Not good. A 6.35 ERA. He's walking 5.56 walks per 9. And if you could take this back even farther, if you go back to when the spider tack was banned at the end of June last year, since that time, his ERA is 4.5. The Ks are still there. He struck out like 120 something in 96 innings pitched, but the walks have just climbed and they continue to climb. I mean. AJ, you remember this like a couple years ago when he signed with the Yankees and he came over from Pittsburgh. I was like, no, Gerrit Cole is not a good pitcher. Like, guys, this is not good. Like, is he, Yeon, in your opinion, is he a spider tack guy and he can't do it without it?
It's really hard to tell. I mean, I like him as a strikeout pitcher because like his whip rate is really great, and then like his K rate is like sky high. But like I just said, like ever since Spider Tech incident happened, like he's not a great Gerrit Cole that we knew before. So I mean, but then reportedly, like he added cutter to his repertoire this season, and then I looked at his Statcast data, but his cutter like is really great. But then he hasn't like thrown it that much, so we'll see like how it's gonna work like going forward. I think that's his solution to like his inflated walk rate. I'm not sure like if it's gonna work out or not, but then we'll see. I mean, if you drafted like Gerrit Cole this year, just like hold on to him.
Yeah, you're
but-
not getting anything for him.
Yeah,
Not what you should.
No.
It's tough though, man. It's so tough to
Yeah.
hold on to a guy like him who's struggling this bad. I mean, at some point, like, what if you were offered, say, like 90 cents, 85 cents on a dollar for Gerrit Cole?
Sold.
AJ sold
I'm already launching them.
out.
Yeah.
Yeon, you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think I would do it too. Another guy here in AJ, I don't know. Maybe you want to take this one first if you want, but you can dodge it if you want. Aaron Nola.
Terrible.
Oh.
I mean, good lordy. Can we stop calling this guy elite and stop pitching him? Stop drafting him as like a top end SB2. I mean, he was going like top 12, top 10, sometimes top 15.
Yeah.
We got to stop, right? I mean, it's over. This guy's just not. Everybody is just hanging on to the 2018 season he had, where it was just absurd 2.37 ERA. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
been
I mean, he was
getting worse.
second or third in voting for Cy Young. I think he lost out to Max that year, which, I mean, okay, you can't really be too
Yeah,
mad
I mean,
about
right?
that.
I mean, he'll strike
But-
out some dudes, but you know, the walk rate's not bad either. Just he gets hit. I mean, if he doesn't strike you out, he gets hit pretty hard. His BABIP's up at like 300s, you know, close to 300, pretty much every year.
I think the thing that's killing him the most right now is home runs, and we just
In
talked
a year
about how
that
you
isn't giving up a
haven't
lot of
seen
home
a lot of
runs,
them.
so that's
But
shocking.
if you're pitching, you know, or if you're batting against Aaron Nola, you're likely to get one. So
He did pitch in cores, so, but yeah, that's not the only. I mean,
Yeah.
he got rocked by Oakland. Come on, now.
yeah. I
Come
mean,
on now.
it's just the problem with Nola is that Girardi won't pull him when he needs to. You know, he's like late to do it every freaking time. You know, and you've got to be able to pick up on this and see that, okay, well, he's starting to come around to the third time through, and you know, he was okay for the second round through, you know, but I mean, it sucks. I think there's other pitchers on this team that are way better than Nola. I mean, the sports radio show up here I listen to a lot is always talking about how he's like the fifth starter. I mean, he's basically behind everybody, which
That's what people are saying about Cole right now.
yeah. And Cole wasn't mind blowing in Pittsburgh. I mean, he was good. I had him in a dynasty league, and I remember just being super excited about it, and then being super let down by it at the same time. It was like, okay. But yeah, once he got traded, obviously that changed, and now it's back to what he was doing. So either one of these guys, I'm off on. You know,
Yeah.
I'd much rather try to find value somewhere else, and if there are believers, I'm all for trying to rope one of them into a trade.
Yeah, I agree. Real quick, Yeon, you got any quick thoughts on Nola, and then we'll move on.
I think his strikeout pitch was curveball, but then for some reason like his curveball like is terrible. Like I don't know why. And then I searched like if there's on like any article like about like he's worsening curveball, but then apparently like there's nothing like mentioning about like his curveball yet. But I think it's possible like he's playing through injury. I'm not sure like if they let him play like through injury like for like 2 years in a row. So I think it's low possibility, but I mean, I don't know what to make of him, honestly. Like, I would just like move away from him.
Yeah, his pitch values, if you look at Fangraphs, they're all negative.
Yeah.
Except for his cutter. Which that's not good.
No,
All
but
right,
even
AJ.
with Cutter, he's not even.
It's not good
not
either, but like at
delivering
least
it
he was
well.
positive on all the other pitchers before, especially
I
the
think
curve.
As long as he gets like his curveball back, like he'll be like serviceable at least. But then if not, no.
Yeah,
Certainly not usable at this
totally
point.
agree.
So next guy up we got here is Freddie Peralta, and I mean the big issue with him has been his walks. Yeah, and what are you going to make with Peralta this year? I mean, is he going to be able to turn this around and cut these walks down?
He's kind of interesting because last year like somehow like he played really great like unexpectedly, and then he said to the media that it's just because like he learned slider from like YouTube video like Trevor Bauer posted. So but then this year like his slider like is so terrible, like it's almost like like not usable. That's the main reason why like he's not like playing well compared to last season. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if it's just like like just because of like small sample or not. So we'll see. That's all I know. Yeah.
No, you're totally spot on there. I think he's gonna be better. Like you're not getting a seven walk per 9 rate out of him, but yeah, he's always been a guy that I always thought the potential was there, and then last year like it all came together. But yeah, I'm sort of if the slider's not working for him, and that's what got him there. I'm out right now.
Yeah,
I really am. I've been trying to trade for him in a couple leagues, but I'm glad I held off apparently.
Yeah. So let's dip back into hitters here, and keep it over there with St. Louis yet again. Mr. Paul Goldschmidt.
It's an interesting team.
fan favorite of mine, and has been for a long time. But this is the type of stuff that is making me not be a fan of his for the past few years. 0 home runs. But why? Why does he not have a home run yet? What are we doing? Cutting bait?
Only 1 RBI too, man. Whew, brutal.
It's an interesting
That was
question.
a bunt. I mean, he bunted the guy home. Squeeze. It wasn't, but it'd be cool if it was.
What's interesting is that he's faced more breaking balls this season than fastball. I think it's just more because like pitchers know like he can't hit like breaking balls since he's aging. Unless like he can like overcome it. I don't think we're gonna able to see like Paul Goldschmidt like we used to see like in the past season. So yeah, I mean he's in the stage of like decline, I think. But
yeah,
of course, like he's gonna hit like a couple of home runs and he's gonna post some like mediocre, maybe serviceable stats. But I don't think he's gonna be a Paul Goldschmidt,
Yeah, I mean, we kind of got a hint of that decline in 2020, and of course that's the COVID year, so everybody's sort of ignoring it. But and then he bounced back last year big time with the help of Arenado, being there. They kind of like helped each other, But maybe this is more of what we should have expected from him, to where people were just thinking, oh, him and Arenado are just going to still continue to crush. Look, he's a professional hitter and he's super good. I get he could be on the decline. He's not this bad. I don't care how many breaking balls he's going to get thrown his way. He will figure it out. He's still probably going to hit 20 to 25 home runs, in my opinion. So I think he's a huge buy low candidate, in my opinion. Like if somebody wants to give him to me, I will take him every day. Like he is not this bad.
Don't get me wrong. Like I'm not saying like he's washed up or anything. I'm just saying like he's not like prime time Ultimate anymore. But then,
I agree.
He's still pretty good. Yeah, I think he's a buy low candidate as well. Yeah.
I mean, he's batting 162. I mean, 207
about your
BABIP.
expectation.
It's just not working for him right now. You know, we're seeing it, but we're seeing this from a lot of guys. You know, especially the power guys, as we've kind of mentioned. This is why I brought it up earlier with the power, right? And with all these guys that we're going to mention here, the big, common denominator, right, is they're all power bats, and it's just not working for them. We're seeing, they're not barreling up on the ball. The line drive percentage is down. The fly ball percentage is down. We're seeing more ground balls type of thing. So it's just a whole mix of things, and it could be weather, could be a lot of things, right? And so we'll jump over to another guy, and a guy that I've been a big fan of for a few years is Franmil Reyes. He hit 30 bombs last year, 37 2 years ago, 9 in the shortened season. Whatever. He's usually not a drain on your batting average. Anywhere between about 250, hit 275 in the shortened season. But he is just off to an incredibly bad start. We're looking at 0 home runs, only 2 runs and 2 RBI. And this is for a Cleveland team, by the way, that has scored massive amounts of runs in certain games. I mean, we're talking like 17s and 15s and double digits multiple times. This Cleveland team is scoring runs in bunches. He's just like, nah, I'm good, guys. You guys have fun right now. I mean, like, 2 guys that we didn't mention in the hot starts that I know are like super popular names, but like we talked about them last week, and I feel like nothing's really changed. Obviously Owen Miller, and we got Quan, right? These guys, they're playing out of their minds right now. I think the obvious answer would have been we don't expect it to continue, but so I didn't mention him again. But Reyes, like, he's on the complete opposite side of that. I mean, is there something going on with him that you're noticing that is alarming, that you're just like, you know what? If I have him and somebody wants to believe in him, I can push him aside, or are you willing to like keep him or buy him low at this point?
Okay. I think, as far as I know, like, he can't hit breaking balls, but then he can crash the fastball. So he is who he is. He's I'll say he's better than like cheap source of power. But then, like most of like majority of power hitters, like, he's gonna be inconsistent. So, I mean, it's not gonna be a surprise. Like, if he's gonna like start hitting home runs like, every day, like after this episode, I'm not gonna be surprised, because like he's that type of player. So, I mean, if you have him, just like hold on to him. Like, he's gonna eventually be, like, he's gonna like start hitting soon. I think he is who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, you also got to look at where they've been playing early on, right? Kansas City, it's been cold. Cincy has been cold. Then they moved to Cleveland. It's been cold. So like that hurts these guys this early on, and I don't know. I've always been sort of a proponent that baseball doesn't need to start till May. It's just too damn cold. It's too damn cold. I'm out here playing softball. My daughter's playing softball right now in early April, even late April at this point, and I'm like, it's freaking 40 degrees outside. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to be here. It's not fun. You got 10-year-olds hitting the ball and they're like dropping the bat like, ow. I'm like, this is miserable.
That hurt.
You got anything?
I'm trying to think. Like, I like Reyes, but I'm afraid of going after him right now.
Well, the position eligibility in most leagues scares people off. He's utility only, except for in like a handful of Fantrax leagues where he got outfield eligibilities.
He does have the outfield,
so that helps. But he's utility only. That hurts for sure.
For what he's shown so far, I'm staying away from him.
Yeah. I think if you can afford the utility only, like say you're in a league with like 2 utility spots or whatever, then maybe go into it. But I stay away from the utility only guys. The only player I have that's utility only is in a 2 utility league, and I got Nelson Cruz, who's also not starting well. So I ignored that one. I could only talk about so many players. But next up, a guy who got traded, Jesse Winker, to Seattle. Had a breakout year last year. We talked about him in the offseason shows. Do we believe it? And I think we all sort of said that, like, you believe in the talent. Could he repeat this? A little unknown, but I don't think anybody expected to start this bad, right? I mean, his average is 158. His BABIP is all the way down to 182. What's weird is, like, he's striking out less. Is he walking more? Did I not put? I didn't. I for some reason don't have that on here. The walk percentage I don't have on my sheet for some reason. Again, I had 2 5-year-olds running around my house this morning while I was trying to put the show together, so I missed out on a couple things. But anyway, is this just like super bad regression and like maybe just cut bait on Winker, or do you think like the bad luck's gonna turn around and you can reap the benefits from this guy?
I think somewhat like there's a regression, and then also it's bad luck. I think he's fine. I think like his talent, it's just like too great. He's gonna be fine, I think. But then the only downside is, I mean, I personally I care about like team a lot. So I mean, I don't like Seattle because like so far like they don't really. It doesn't seem like they know how to like develop players. So that's the only downside I can see at this point. But other than that, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing that I worried about with him going to Seattle was, I think the change in ballpark actually hurt him.
Oh yeah.
Great American Ballpark obviously is a super hitters park, to where Seattle's not. The Reds obviously they had the most home runs last year at home, to where Seattle, the Mariners were. Oh, of course, there's no ranking next to this, but let's just say they were in the they were well in the bottom half.
They were not the goodest team out there.
Not the goodest team, yes. You sound like my 5-year-old.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so
I
didn't love it. I didn't love the move.
Bag the next 2 that we had listed and go a little personal cuts deep here.
Of course.
With Cedric Mullins, because you mentioned his name earlier. And
he's hitting poorly, but he's still
got 8 ribbies, which is
the
nice.
entire Orioles team isn't hitting outside of him. So you can't knock the ribbies on him.
No, I'm not knocking the ribbies on him. I mean, he's got 2 homers, but other than that, okay. Yeah. But the one I'm more worried about is Witt Merrifield here. Keeping it with KC, and we've talked about them a lot tonight, I feel like, but he's only got 2 ribbies. His lone bright spot is the 3 stolen bases. His on base percentage is atrocious, 174. He's got a run and 6 hits in 44 bats. I mean, this is not what you were expecting when you drafted Merrifield where you did. So what are you doing with Merrifield?
Merrifield, I mean, like, he's skill set wise, I always thought like he's not gonna be a player who plays well for like several years. So I mean, I personally like him. He can still like give you some steals, like some runs and good batting average. But then if you expect him to play like at the level that like he used to play, then I'll say no. That's an absurd expectation, I think. But yeah, he's still okay player to own, I think. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna come around, man. His BABIP's at 162. Like
Yeah.
that's
He's not a
gonna
bad
rise. He's striking out less. He's just hitting. I mean, granted, he is hitting for a lot more soft contact, so something's going on there with because I didn't dig into him as much because we didn't expect this question, but I was no, you're not thanked, dude.
Off script, baby.
No, stop it. Anyway, yeah, I think he's fine. I wouldn't sell low on him because you bought him.
Hold.
You drafted him for low power and speed and batting average, and you need to get that back. You're not going to get that back in a trade. It's going to be too valuable. So, anyway, who was the other guy you mentioned? Mullins.
Cedric, yeah.
Kind of the same thing. He's kind of the same way. I never believed the power was real. I mean, he might be like upper teens, in my opinion. I never believed the power was real. I don't know, Yeon, what's your thoughts on him?
Well, I totally agree with you. His power was, I think he like inflated last year. So I mean, he's gonna hit for like good average. Like some home runs. But he's a good player.
Yeah. I think I go back a little bit. I just I think anybody drafting him for last year was out of their minds. Like if he had fallen to like the 5th or 6th round for me, I might have taken a shot. But he was going late 2nd, early 3rd, and I was just like,
yeah,
nah, I'm good.
His draft
I'm out. Like that's not
Way
for me. Because even with those numbers he had last year, because the Orioles offense is so bad, he had 59 RBI. Great. I know he was a leadoff hitter, but that's
still low.
That's not good. I mean, 30-30 was never going to happen again. You were hoping at best like 2020 again, and I don't know if we're going to get that. So, real quick, you can pick your poison here. Joey Votto or Eddie Rosario were the two that he didn't mention. I just want to get your quick thoughts on either one of them.
Joey Votto.
I mean, was TikTok is Votto's downfall?
I think he bounced back last year. Great, right?
Dude, he was phenomenal last year. It like came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Again, like
unexpected.
It's
like
hard
1, 2, 3 terrible years.
It's really hard to tell at this point. Because of small sample. I need to see him play like a couple more games. But yeah, there's some worrisome. Like I think he's an old player. But I think he rarely like strikes out against lefty pitchers. But then this year, I forgot who it was. But then like he struck out like 3 times against the same pitcher. I was told like it was the second time in his career. So that's quite alarming. Yeah, I mean, I would never like drafted him in the first place, honestly, because he's too old. But if you already like drafted him, I don't know. He's a hold, but I'm not. I don't really have a like high expectation at this point. Yeah.
How old is Joey Votto, AJ? Is he older than us? I'm just trying to make you feel uncomfortable. Is it working?
No, no, he is not.
He's
don't
not
know.
older than us.
38 years of age.
No.
Oh
I was gonna say 35, but no, he's not.
Yeon, what are you doing, man?
As a player.
Okay. I'm kidding. Maybe I did the same thing. I'm just making. All right, real quick. The rookies here: Bobby Witt and Julio Rodriguez. Look, everybody drafted these guys super high. I mean, like I was out on both of these guys, especially Bobby Witt. Man, he was going like 6th round. I mean,
Yeah,
That's great.
15 seconds on either one of these guys. What do you got?
I mean, I think they're in the same category. So I'll just talk about like both of them. They're both like 2Z guys. but then like Julio Rodriguez, like he's got like more tools than Bobby Witt, I think. But like they need to develop like their tools. But then I don't think their minor league system, like their development like department, like they don't know how to like develop those like great players. I think they need more time. I think it's too early to judge like what kind of player they are. So I mean, this is not the year. I think that's all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you look at this is what happens to a lot of the top prospects that aren't in good systems. Guy comes up from Tampa Bay, we good. Like you're fine, man. A guy comes up in Houston normally, like you good. Seattle, 41.9K percentage. That's not good. Bobby Witt, let's see here. What was his? It's probably about the same. 32.5. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, look, these guys can be super talented, but to buy in on them at especially Bobby Witt at the price tag that they had, I don't know, man.
That's absurd.
That was too much for me. All right, so we're gonna close out here with just a couple of guys here that I had listed. It's just sort of like we've had mixed bags. Like we've had good starts, bad starts, and we mentioned one of them earlier on. We're gonna rapid fire through these, so 30 seconds each, right? Marcus Stroman, he had horrible starts and then has sort of turned it around. Are you back in on him as sort of a safe-ish pitcher the rest of the year, or just not feeling it?
No.
You out?
No.
All right. Matt Brash. I mean, I got talked into him by I'm gonna blame all the Matt Brash failure if it happens on Dap Scout, because he convinced me that he was gonna get AL Rookie of the Year. If he's listening, that's so awesome. I hope he comments. But I mean, look, he was a very good minor league pitcher. He's had pretty good success so far. 3.38 ERA, 9.28 K per 9. The walk rate's not great. He walked 5 or 6 batters this last game, which has inflated that big time. Still, I think the talent is there. Are you willing to give him, keep him on your roster, and trust him? Thank you for the light. I was going to ask you about that. Are you willing to keep him on your roster, and just trust him to keep things rolling despite the bad walk outing?
Matt Brash?
Yeah. He had 6 walks against Houston.
I mean, like, honestly, like for me, he's more of like a mediocre player. There's nothing exciting. I think he's got 3 pitches, but all of his 3 pitches are like it's not like bad, but then like it's not like super great either. So I don't know. Like I need to see him pitch like a couple more games to have my opinion on him, but I don't personally like him too much.
All right, dude, don't tell Dap that on Slack, man. He'll yell at you. He's good at yelling at people, as he yelled at us on the show. All right, next pitcher here, another rookie, Hunter Green. Big time prospect, right? This guy's unbelievable prospect. Strikeouts are clearly there, but I think he's kind of hittable right now. But what's your thoughts on just taking him as like a back end rotation guy for your fantasy team? I think Brash and Green. This is what we're looking at. Back end rotation guys. You're not looking at the like lead your team here, but just give you something. What quick thoughts?
Oh, it's easy to answer. The key factor for him is just his changeup. It's his third pitch, and he's been like working on it. Reportedly, like his changeup like got a lot better, but then ever since he came up to the major, like his changeup is okay to average level right now. I think he's view rate like of his changeup is like 13%, I think, which is not great. That's why like he's so much hittable, like I just said. So he's at this point currently like 2 pitch pitcher, But then like his fastball is like what, like 100%. I mean like 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy, you know. Like even like with his fastball, like he can strike out like all the hitters. But then, like I said, like there's gonna be some hiccups like with 2 pitches. If you wanna like bet on like his development, like going forward, you know, like I'm not gonna say no to it, you know. But personally, like I'll take Hunter Green over Matt Brash because you know like he's got like massive talent. I think maybe you know like as he throws like more innings, like he can like develop his changeup. You know, you never know.
So another guy that we mentioned last week, and a guy that we actually mentioned as you know really struggling, and he struggled in the spring big time, but Cody Bellinger, like hot, cold, like we don't know, but dude, he's starting to hit again, man. He's got his average close to 300. He's hit 2 bombs. He's actually stolen 3 bases. Like, I mean, look, early on in the draft season, he was going, you know, what, 8th, 9th round maybe. And then, like, once all the videos came out on Twitter that he was, like, looking completely lost, he dropped like a rocket, basically like, wasn't drafted. But are you thinking that, you know, he might have figured something out in this last, like, week and a half maybe? You know, because he's gone, you know, in 7 days, you know, 2 hits out of 5, 2 hits out of 4, 3 out of 2, 2 out of 4, 2 out of 4. You know, he's got a couple over 3s and over 4s in there, but that's typical. But like it's like a normal major league player at this point. Instead, you know, in the spring he was like 2 for 50. It felt like.
I don't buy him at all.
Nah, you
No,
think
not
he's
at
just getting kind of lucky right now. Right.
I think he's not hitting like breaking balls right now. I think it's somewhat fluky. But then the only if there's only a reason I can trust him is like his team. You know, like Dodgers. Like I think there's a reason why they keep like playing him. So if I have to believe him, that's the only reason. But other than that, not really. I don't really see anything.
All right. Tommy Edman is a guy who we mentioned last week also, where, you know, he was batting very well, right? But was batting 9th in the lineup, which was bizarre. And then Carlson was the one batting first, but he started off hot. Now he's gone super cold. Now Edman's like kind of started creeping up the lineup, but hasn't gotten that first spot back, I think, except maybe today when Carlson was out, or maybe yesterday. I forget what day it was. I guess maybe not. Like, do you think Edman, you know, can continue the hot streak? But in more of, do you think Edman takes back over that number 1 spot in the lineup over Carlson? This, you know, with the start of the seasons they've had so far.
I think he can be a leadoff, yeah, if he can keep hitting. But I think his slugging percentage got a lot better though, right? Like this year.
So far, yeah. I mean, he's hit for way more power than he usually does. I think they'll, you know, a lot of people are looking at that 2019 season when he hit for 11 home runs, and we mentioned this in the offseason show as well, where in 349 plate appearances he hit 11 home runs and expected that to continue, and it never did. But this year he's already hit 3. So maybe he's figured something out. I mean, he's still a young guy. So, you know, maybe he's going into his prime here, 26, 20. He'll turn 27 in just a few days here, actually. So prime time here, you know, for him. So maybe he'll figure something out. And, you know, we know he's got some speed, but if he can add some power to that, I mean, he could be a super value, in my opinion. Despite being drafted around like 100, I think overall is where he was going. Last couple guys here, just do both of these here real quick. Seth Beer and G-Man Choi.
Dare me.
Yeah, right. Both guys, like, I mean, they're hitting phenomenal, right? I think the issue for both of them is playing time, right? Is like, are they going to get enough playing time to be worth being on your roster, even in daily leagues?
No.
Yeah, I agree, man.
But,
It's hard to roster these guys. I think if you're gonna roster one, it's got to be Choi.
Yeah,
he's just I think he's a better hitter. Beer as much as we want to root for Beer, it's just not. I don't think that's gonna continue. It's a fun story though. I like the name.
Yeah.
So, AJ, any final thoughts for Yeon before we let him close out?
No, man. I appreciate you coming on and plenty of good information and whatnot.
Phenomenal, man.
So, next week we'll figure out a new topic aside from starts and whatnot, because we've gone through all of them. I feel like.
No, just kidding.
But we will find a way to mention Seth Beer next week too.
I don't know if that's possible during an NFL draft.
It is
correct. Correct.
Incorrect, my friend.
AJ, you just goofed. That's usually my thing. All right. Anyway, Yeon, thank you for coming on, man. As AJ said, like, great information. This was phenomenal.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Super happy to have you on, and we'll have to do it again very, very soon. But that being said, we gotta let you go. And before that, though, let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter and what you got going on this season.
Wait, what? What was the question?
So just let everybody know where they can find you, like on Twitter, and what are you doing this baseball season and what you got going on.
Yeah, I'm currently writing baseball articles on Fantasy Six Pack website. You guys can see my pieces every week, and then my Twitter is Sabermetrics 201. So if you can follow me, just tweet me, then I'll just follow you. Yeah.
Yep. It's in the ticker there, guys. So go ahead and follow that. It'll also be in the show notes if you missed it, if you're not watching. And I followed you this morning. I think your Twitter is pretty new, right? You didn't have one for a while there, right?
I really use it though.
Yeah. All right. No, that's all.
It's strong.
We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. I'll go, man. Again, thank you for coming on. Great information. I had fun, man, talking to you. Have a good night, man.
All right. See you, man.
All right, AJ. So yeah, as Mike corrected you, we will not be doing a baseball show next week. It is the NFL draft. And
I told you we would come up with a better topic, and boom, there it is, the NFL draft.
Whoop, there it is. Anyway, yes. So NFL draft show next week, we'll be starting right before 8:00 p.m. Eastern time next week.
Draft.
Yeah, so the draft starts at 8:00. Of course, they got 15 minutes of BS before they actually start making picks. But we'll start just before 8:00.
Goodell sitting in his stupid chair.
Well, no, they're doing it live now. They're in Vegas.
Yeah, they're in Vegas.
They're in Vegas this year. Vegas, baby.
They'll probably just bring the chair there and be like,
sure, why not?
I recreated my man cave.
Maybe. See, I miss the shots of like the kitchen tables with the laptops on them and like the dog sitting on the chair instead.
Was it a dog? People peeing
AJ,
in the background.
I'll give you kudos if you can, bring up Seth Beer in next episode. But
No
I'll give you even more credit if you can remember to do it.
No problem.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. So, again, next week is our NFL draft special. It's a live draft show. We got tons of good guests. Look at my Twitter account at F6P_Joe. I pinned it to the top. It's got the YouTube link. It'll and all the guests there. Phenomenal show that we got going on here. It's a packed show. I've only got like 3 draft slots open, so we're gonna have a lot of fun. It'll be madhouse. LaPlante, I hope you're ready as a producer.
Bring it on.
Bring it. So that's what we got going. Then we're back into the baseball. But that being said, let's close it out and see you next week, AJ.
All right.